let's start at the top because obviously that is the main event of this card. Conor McGregor taking on Dustin Poirier. I got to be honest with you. I started covering MMA in 2010. I remember watching Dustin Poirier come up, right? Like Tim Crater, one of his trainers, was he did a lot with Sal Solis here in Houston, which is a blast from the past as far as names go. So I remember seeing this guy and thinking, okay, he's got skill set, but I never would have pictured him achieving the level of success that he has in the UFC. Is he... Because in my mind, maybe, and Laura, correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like he might be outclassed in this fight. Like there's that level to greatness from really good or elite to greatness. Is this that level that he's about to try to make?
I think MMA can often be the great equalizer. I think if you were to look at these people in silos, so let's do that. Let's look at them in silos. Then I might agree with you that Conor McGregor, in terms of technical skill on the feet, phenomenal takedown defense. He does have a bit of a lack in his ground game, but that's something I feel like it's a storyline that we need to figure out. And I would love for it to quit being perpetuated because the fact is we don't really know. You know, we've only seen 37 seconds of fight time from him in 3 years?
Yes.
So how do we know where his ground game is? But whatever, fine. We'll say he doesn't have much of a ground game. But in terms of greatness, yes, he has that. He's got a heater of a left hand. He has an incredible fight IQ. I'm not afraid to use a lot of superlatives when I'm talking about Conor McGregor. Other hand, Dustin Poirier. I mean, incredible fighter, durable, also extremely technical. I mean, I guess I might, if you force me, I might give Conor the edge in terms of striking finesse is maybe the word that I would give to him. But here's the thing. MMA is not a silo. And that's why there are often these situations where we talk about MMA math, like, well, so-and-so beat so-and-so, but then they beat this other guy. It's why MMA math doesn't work, because matchups make fights and it's all about that specific matchup. So I'm not willing to say that Conor McGregor is quote unquote a better fighter than Dustin Poirier. Maybe on paper, maybe in some people's books, but in this fight, I think we have some really intriguing things to talk about, and there are definitely paths to victory for Dustin Poirier. But
you're a fighter. Talk a little bit about ring rust, because that's the big thing that we hear about Conor, right? Is ring rust. That could be the deciding factor in this. Is it that big of a deal as a fighter? And could it be the difference in this fight?
I think it can be a factor for certain fighters. I think it's a real thing, especially earlier in your career. And I think it really varies individual to individual. It's not a thing that you can just sort of blanket and say, oh, every person that's been away for over a year is going to experience some level of ring rust. I really feel like there are special fighters, and I would put Conor in this category. There are people who transcend because of their work on their mental game. There are people who transcend the idea of ring rust. And I think that there are people who have put an inordinate amount of work into their camps. And man, I mean, you watch that countdown show, you can gain an appreciation for the level of Conor's camp and how much, now he's got the money to support it, right? Wouldn't we all love to have a camp like that where we have an individual who's in charge of literally everything that you can think of? But that's when you're fighting for as much money as he is fighting for, that's what you need to have. And he's done that. So do I think ring rust is going to be a factor in this fight? No, I don't. I really don't. Although the Cowboy fight was very quick and Cowboy Cerrone is not at the peak of his career right now, there were pieces of that fight that were brilliant. And I think even in that short amount of brilliance, we saw that Conor's the type of guy who does not deal with ring rust.
I saw an article that the title of it was, this was the headline: Dana White is trying to keep the title away from Conor McGregor. Do you believe that? I mean, like, there's this thought of that's why this isn't a title fight now, and with the ring, and he wants this Khabib fight to happen for sure between McGregor, and he doesn't. Is there anything to these theories? Is Dana White this mastermind? Because I'm of the personal belief that Dana White just wants to make money. I just want the two best guys fighting, or two best girls fighting, and whatever happens. Is there something to this headline that I saw?
No, absolutely. Dana White wants to make money. That's it. And that's what he should want, by the way. That's not a bad thing. He is the president of a company. That is his job, is to make as much money as possible for this company. I think that Dana White on a personal level is a fan of the sport, and I think that he doesn't want Habib to retire because Habib is at his peak, right? He is just this aura of greatness. And so the the idea specter of a possible second fight between Khabib and Conor is just so tasty, not just in terms of money, but like what it would mean to see those two. Would it play out different? Like I get excited just thinking about it. I think that's where that comes from. It has nothing to do with, oh, he doesn't want Conor to have the title. Conor would be a great person to have the title because Conor's who you want everyone lining up to beat. I mean, that's your money guy. And honestly, I think, the period of time that Conor was away from MMA, and then he has the boxing fight with Floyd, and then he comes back and he fights Cowboy. That is a long period of time. And honestly, you could even throw the Diaz fights in there, especially the second one. That is a very long period of time where, on paper or not, what he's fighting for is not really a true title shot because it wasn't the path to a title. Like when you talk about Max Holloway, that is the path to a title. That guy took, what was it, 11 wins? I'm going to get the stat right, 11 wins in a row or whatever it was in order to get his shot at a title. That path to a title made sense. He had to knock off every single person in his path. Conor's path has been like this over here, and we're up here, and then we're taking this fight. And it's been filled with greatness. Don't get me wrong. It's been incredible. But after the Jose Aldo fight, it got a little wonky.
Yeah.
And what I love about this fight with Poirier is we're back on a title path, a legit title path, because Dustin Poirier is absolutely at the top of this division. We've got the other guy in the co-main event that kind of add to the intrigue. Charles Oliveira sitting there in the wings. So I love this fight for that reason. But to answer your question, no, I don't think that Dana's trying to keep the title away from Conor. I think if anything, he'd love for Conor to have the title. He just wants him to take it away from him.
I remember watching Charles Oliveira when he fought for Mick in Legacy. That's how far back. And Charles Oliveira is a special dude, man. Okay, so one other thing real quick, and then I want to ask you about the Michael Chandler fight because I think that's intriguing, him coming over from Bellator. But do you like this new Conor? Because I watched the press conference and I'm watching him be like, yeah, I like your hot sauce. So maybe we'll partner up and this. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Where's the shit talking? Who the fuck is this guy? Where's all that? I don't know if I like this.
I do. I like him, but I literally am such a split personality over this because on one hand, I really miss the one-liners. I'm such a sucker for how gold he is on the mic.
Funny.
He's so funny, so witty, so quick, and you can't make stuff up. You can't teach yourself how to be witty. You either are or you aren't. And he has it in spades, and I'm so here for it. I love it. On the other hand, there was a moment in that press conference that, oh my gosh, hit me in the heart. And it was when the guy from Dan Hardy's crew, the Raptors crew, read out that response that Conor gave years back to a question about the effect that being in MMA had on. And he was comparing himself to Van Gogh and how he said something like, the sport has made me lose my mind. The sport has made me go crazy. I've given everything to it. And I will know I've achieved things when I can give my mom a mansion and my girlfriend can have a car for every day of the week. And this is him, of course, talking years and years ago, before any of this was true.
Yeah.
And this guy reads it back to him in the press conference. And for the first time ever that I can think of, I saw Conor get choked up because when he responded to it, there was a hitch in his voice and you could just tell that it meant something to him. So while I love the shit talking so much, there's something kind of cool about this more mature, mellow. He still brings it. No, like he's gonna let you know that he built the stage that you're sitting on.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he's happy that you're here. Like, oh, I built this. Don't get it wrong. But welcome to the party, let's have fun together type of attitude. And if that's the Conor we have moving forward, I can learn to love him.
You're right. It gave me chills a little bit thinking about that, because you're right. Because, it's one of those things where at some point in an athlete's career and their growth, when you start to achieve the level of success that Conor McGregor has, you get to quote my mom, you get too big for your britches, right? Like like Conor got so big that he felt untouchable, and then he had the out of the ring issues in court and everything else. And I think some of that humbled him, but I think also there's just getting older and getting more mature and realizing this could all be gone like that if you fuck this up. And I think that's a humbling moment in your life when you're like, yeah, I'm on top of the world, but this could all be gone. So it is kind of cool.
Having kids.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good point.
And having kids and all of that, building that life. And what is amazing about it is, remember the days when, and I guess it would be pre and especially post Floyd, right? Like everybody's like, oh my gosh, he just made whatever the figure was, hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yes.
No way we're going to ever see him in an MMA again. Why would he come back?
He doesn't need to.
That's a valid question.
Yeah.
Why would he come back? He doesn't need it. He doesn't need the spotlight and the people hounding him about his legal issues and all this stuff, all the negativity that comes with it. What is amazing about it is that he is back and he's clearly motivated. This man loves the sport and he loves to be in there and he loves to fight. And that's common among all real fighters. So
that's everything.
I feel like that press conference made Conor much more human to me, and I loved it.
I agree, because I think too, Laura, a lot of people don't realize that you can take these fights and you can be the Conor McGregors and have the spotlight, but most people don't know how much work it takes, how much sweat and pain and sore ankles and everything else that goes into being an MMA fighter behind the scenes. All we see is the interviews, the walk to the ring, and the fight. Yeah. And what you don't see is the work that it requires. And when you're at the level that he's at, you have to genuinely love this sport. I don't give a shit how much money you have. You have to genuinely love this sport to keep doing it when you have that much money. And I think that speaks volumes to it.